Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening from. Hi, this is JP, and welcome to this afternoon's live stream. Yes, it's a Friday, and I'm here on a Friday, but don't worry about that. We're going to have a look at doing a couple of things, and this live stream is all about live streaming. So it's actually a live stream Q&A. So if you've got your questions about live streaming, please put them in the chat. The chat should be here. This is a multi-stream chat. So whether you're on my Facebook page, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitch, or whether you're on X, Twitter, then of course we should be able to see at least the YouTube and the Twitch and the Facebook one here. I don't know if the Twitter one works. We can find out. So we're gonna do a couple of things, and this live stream is basically all about live streaming. As I say, I'm getting quite a lot of questions recently about live streaming and how to do live streaming again. So I wanted to address this. There's also something that's happened with Facebook, which is a bit of a shock, where I don't want you to panic, basically. So there was a little bit of an announcement regarding Facebook live streaming, and we're going to drill into that and obviously how to recover from that. So, hi, here on a Friday. It's fun, isn't it? So what we're going to do is this live stream. I just want to obviously get a couple of things, obviously a little bit of stuff. So starting with this live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid, which is a music distribution company. So if you are actually looking at making songs, or if you're a musician putting songs out, then you need a music distributor in the middle to get to things like Spotify and Apple Music and all those kind of places. So that's where these guys can help you. So DistroKid are a music distribution company, but they do it slightly differently, where instead of charging you for every release, every single, every EP, they charge you one price per year, and that starts at $22.99. There is a link in the description box right there, and if I'm clever about this, we can do this, and there you go. This is also a QR code, so if you scan that QR code, then we can actually do that there. Let me put it in a different way. Let me put it there we go, that's better. So if you give this a scan, this should have just gone into the chat as well, then you'll get 7% off your first annual membership, which is really, really nice. So just want to thank DistroKid for sponsoring the live stream. A couple of housekeeping things for me. We've now obviously got a couple of bits and bobs sorted. So let me just take that off. There we go. One of them is now the RC 500 course. Basically, that 15% off has gone. It is no longer $82.45. It has gone back to its $97. So it is actually back to its full price. And the other thing as well is you've got the RC600 course. Now for both of them, what you can do is you can put the word subscriber in the checkout, and you'll still get 5% off both the 500 and the 600 course. And last one before we get into today's topic, which is I've had a lot of people saying about timing and how to loop and things like that. I actually do have a looping for beginners course, which is called Loop Lab Master the Basics, and that is again $97 as well. Just giving a shout out to the actual courses there. Just obviously, if you want to have a look at all of them, go to my website, which is johnpaulmusic.co.uk. Right then, let's talk about live streaming. Let's bring the chat back first of all. Let's obviously put that back on the screen. So of course I do live streaming. I do live streaming once a week here in the studio, but we also have done live streaming in the wild out there. But live streaming for musicians specifically. Now, this channel kind of like took off because of a video I did in 2020, which was how to live stream for musicians, because of course there was what Pete Johns lovingly calls the global interruption, which is of course oh cool, people scan the QR code, thanks. So people obviously had the global interruption, otherwise known as the pandemic, where for musicians of course places closed. Now that's gone and by, and most places are now back open, and the question is, should we be live streaming as musicians? And if we are, what are we doing about it? Time for a cup of tea with the giraffe. So the answer for me personally is yes, you should still be live streaming. And there are people who have started live streaming going, well, I've done live streaming like, you know, at my home and in a place like this, in a room, then should I be going gigging? And if I'm going gigging, should I live stream the gig? And there's a couple of caveats with that. So I wanted to address it. Now, first of all, the thing about live streaming, if you go, well, actually, we're a gigging band or a duo or a musician, whatever, and you're like, I've never live streamed. Should I be live streaming in 2024? My answer is yes, you should be. The reason is because you can actually showcase not only to your audience, and also you can showcase to different promoters, different landlords of pubs or clubs, or if you're looking at the festival scene, showcasing what you do in a live environment. Now, with that comes a couple of things. If you've got a phone, then of course you can just live stream right from there. You don't need a lot of equipment. You can obviously just get that, you maybe plug a connection in from a desk, from a mixer, and you can obviously live stream from there. However, there's a couple of things now out on the market where you can take which are specific for live stream, like this camera right here that I'm using, which is things like the Osbot Tail Air, which, you know, if I move around and put it in a certain mode, it'll follow me. You can have ones which are things like the GoPros you can now live stream from. You can live stream from like the Insta360 cameras. You can live stream obviously from your laptop. So there's loads of different ways of doing it. How should you do it? That's the question. So live streaming in a room like this, of course, you could use just your laptop camera to start off with. You don't have to go out and buy a big digital SLR if you don't want to. And then, of course, just keep it simple. So my advice for this is, personally, this is just my advice. Obviously, other people have different opinions, but my advice for this is set up yourself for a live gig as you would in the room. So I've got like my speaker over there, I've got my guitars, my looper, and then what I just simply do is then I just plug, if the looper's got like a USB out, I'll just plug that into the computer. That's it. Just a stereo out, not multi-out or anything like that. And then that just goes into the computer, and then you choose that as the output for your live stream. So you can still hear it through the PA, but then also they can still hear it. I say they, you, the audience online can still hear it, obviously, and you just need to make sure the levels are right. Now, you can go one stage further than that and obviously, you know, have an audio interface, plug into the audio interface and do things like that. You can do a lot of complicated things. However, if you're just got a microphone and a guitar and you want to plug in, you're going to need an audio interface to obviously do that. Now, we've done reviews of audio interfaces on the channel before. I love the Arturia ones. I love the Scarlett ones, things like that. The Focusrite ones, sorry. So, Scarlett, Focusrite. And you can obviously very easily now, for about £100, get an audio interface, plug in, piece of software, and then throw that up onto obviously online, depending on where you are. I can't talk today. It's weird live streaming on a Friday. Anyway, so there's loads of different things there, but my caveat for this very first thing is just keep it simple. So when I started live streaming a few years before we even started doing major stuff on the YouTube channel, I used to live stream on Facebook. So I have a Facebook page, which we're live streaming on right now. Hello, everyone on Facebook. And we basically, I just used my phone, I put it in a stand, and then I actually just had my guitar, and I've even done one where we did it on a beach, and I used to do Sunday songs with JP, and then we just play covers, and just for entertainment value, just for obviously entertaining people, and that's fine. However, as a musician and as an artist, if you're taking this a little bit more seriously, then what you need to do is you need to do what's known as a call to action. Now, I actually just did a call to action at the beginning of this live stream where I told you about things that you can go and scan and go to a certain website and this, that, and the other. So as a musician, what you need really, obviously, if you haven't already, is obviously some kind of either website or Facebook page that people can go to. So as you're live streaming, either there or you're live streaming on, say, YouTube or Twitch or whatever, you can then say, by the way, all my music's on this page. I've got CDs, I've got vinyl, I've got T-shirts, I've got this. Go and have a look at it, okay? Now, people talk about obviously monetizing live streams and how you can do that. Of course, this live stream is sponsored, and that helps me out, helps the channel out. But you can do things really, really simply with just literally a phone and an audio interface, or a phone and a cable, okay? So keeping it simple is the very, very first thing. I know there's people obviously watching and diving in and saying hello and everything else. If you want to say hello, this is the live chat. Obviously, say hello, tell me where you are. And obviously, if you're getting value from this live stream, then give it a thumbs up for me. That really helps me. Look at that. That was called a call to action. Now, as musicians, we don't really think about these things, but the thing you need to think about is the stuff that's right here. I'm blocking with my hand right now, which is lighting. Now, If you're in a normal environment, you don't want to spend hundreds of pounds, you're not a videographer, you just want to do live streaming, then if you're live streaming in a really dark room, then you need to light it up pretty bright. Or you're going to use the natural sunlight if you're lucky enough to live in this part of the world where you get natural sunlight all the time. I live in the UK. It's chucking it down, raining right now, and it's about 7 degrees. It's not that warm. Yesterday it was about 2 degrees. So it's one of these things where you can actually, just light the room up so people can actually see you, and it needs to be brighter than you really think. It can't. A normal room light isn't good enough. But if you've got somewhere it's really nice and sunny, and then you've also got something basically, or you've got these nice, you can get big lights. You can buy big, the big sort of like circular video lights. I can't remember what they're called, softbox lights, things like that. About £50, £100. If you're serious about getting into live streaming, you can do that, no problem at all. Now, obviously, different channels have different ways of you making money, and we'll get into that in a second. Eddie, how we doing? All right, we've got the 500, bought the RC500, and waiting for the VE22. Do you know what? That is, funnily enough, a strange combination I've got right in front of me right now. So these two together, powerhouse right there. Okay, so you've got obviously all your vocal effects on there, and you've got your 2-channel looping on there as well. So absolute powerhouse for doing that. That'd be really, really cool. N2, yeah, absolutely. Love the 500. It's a diamond. It is. So if you're interested in obviously learning more about that, selfless plug obviously is to my RC500 course. What's going on here? Why are you being weird? There we go. Excuse me one sec. See, this is what happens on live streams. You just have to go with the flow, and while you're correcting something, you just have to fill in, really. So there you go. There's my RC. That's the RC600. RC500 course. There you go. It's $97. You can pay for it monthly if you want to. Put the word subscriber in the checkout, and you can get access to that course, so that you can get 5% off. So there we go. I just chuck the chat off. There we go. So basically, obviously with live streaming, keep it simple to begin with. Maybe you're just playing guitar and you're singing. You don't even have a microphone. You can just use the microphone that's on the phone. It's not going to sound fantastic, but it's more about the rarity of it and actually being out in the wild somewhere, playing, in a live environment. Now, if you're playing in a really busy pub, and you put your phone over there, and then you start playing, and it's going to pick up the person talking over there more than it's going to pick up you, then you're going to need to plug in. You're going to need to plug in like with an audio interface, maybe a couple of dongles or things like that. If you've got iPhones like an iPhone 15, like this one, this is USB-C, and if you're getting a USB-C audio interface, you don't need any dongles or anything. If you've got another phone which is obviously Lightning, or you've got one that's micro USB, whatever, you're going to need an adapter to plug into like audio interface. But the thing is, these things now are really clever to understand. That's an audio interface. I understand what that is. And even if you just got one that's just 2 in, really useful. So obviously talking about, keeping it simple as possible. I've got quite a complicated setup with all the looping and everything else. But to be honest with you, what you want to hear is just the stereo out. You just want to hear the end result. So exactly the same as you'd hear out of a speaker. So I just use the USB, plug the USB into the computer, and I choose that like an audio interface. And you can do that with quite a lot of devices. If a device doesn't do that and it's not USB or audio interface capable, then you'd plug in the output. You can split the output, so maybe the output goes to a speaker so you can hear it, or headphones, and then the main output goes out to an audio interface that you then plug into your computer. Then we talked about obviously lighting, so obviously lighting the environment. If I literally was to turn this light off right now, this is what it looks like. And this is just the normal sort of lights in the room. I've got LEDs behind me, and that's fine. But then I've got this light that I turn on, and this is a 100 watt, what's it called? 5-Ray 100, which is by Xion, and it's got like a softbox thing on it. So just to light me up, just so you can actually see me. So if you're doing live streams, you need to be seen, and that's the thing about it. The other thing as well, obviously, is if you're going to do a live stream, then obviously consider the platform you're going to go onto. If you've got a Facebook page and you've got thousands of followers on the Facebook page, then of course, then you need to do your live streaming on the Facebook page. If you've got a YouTube channel with 0 subscribers and you start live streaming, then you might not get as many people as you expect. So go where your audience is. Don't try and convince your audience to pull all the way over. Now I'm actually live streaming to 4 different places at the same time. And the way I do that is I'm actually using a system called ReStream. In fact, I'm not using any software at all right now. What you're seeing is ReStream. And ReStream can actually help you do things like this, like the live chat. Hello to Alan, by the way. Hope you're okay. And hello to Eddie as well. And everyone else who's watching, say hello in the chat, and we'll have a chat. Simple as that. So if you're interested in things like that, then of course I've got links that are in the description box underneath this video, underneath this live stream, so you can actually sign up to ReStream completely for free. You can do this completely free. There are different caveats with that, so I'm actually live streaming to my Facebook page, so that is a paid for service, but I believe it is obviously valid, and there we go. So Alan's actually currently using ReStream to go out to Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and LiveSpace. There we go. So there's loads of different places that you may actually not know exist as well. So if you've got like things like obviously Kick, for example, obviously different places in different parts of the world. It depends on what you're doing. And there's loads of different, obviously, ones out there. Obviously, I use ReStream, and I like ReStream. I like the design of it. I like the way it works. I like the fact that it just works on a web page. You've got ones like Ecamm, where you actually have to download the software. You've got OBS, which is completely free, which, of course, then you have to learn how to use OBS, and I do have a video about that. So I put on my community on YouTube about the video is just about to hit 200,000 views, which is obviously since the pandemic, of course, lots of people watch that. And the first part of that obviously is having a look at obviously how to just plug in just using a phone, but then the other half of that is using things like OBS. So if you don't know what OBS is, obviously open broadcast software. It's completely free, and you can obviously then set up, that's what a lot of gamers use, a lot of YouTubers use, a lot of live streamers use, and then you send that out to somewhere like Facebook or YouTube, or even you can send it out to ReStream. Eddie, yeah, have a look at ReStream. It's quite useful. And then you've got, and what I'm using right now is you've got a thing called ReStream Studio. You can actually use ReStream Studio completely for free, but if you want to take away things like their logo and you want to add in your own content, then you need ReStream Studio Pro, which is what I pay for. Now, if you are interested in that, as I say, I've got a link that actually gives you $10 of ReStream credit when you sign up for free. You don't have to go to the professional tier if you don't want to, but you're more than welcome to. So obviously, live streaming, you can live stream to multiple destinations. Now, the difficulty is if you listen to one person, they'll say you need to live stream here. If you listen to another person, they'll say live stream here. And the fact is, live stream where your audience is. Okay, there is no point you live streaming on Instagram if you don't have an Instagram following. There's no point you live streaming on TikTok if you're live streaming to 4 people. And you need to obviously look at having an audience. So if you've already started putting music up, or you're actually just putting bits of, here we're in the studio, we're recording, it doesn't have to be a live stream of you constantly playing all the time. It could be a live stream of, hey, we're in the studio today, we're recording stuff. It could be a live stream about advice like I'm doing today. It depends on what you want how you want to be perceived. I hope that makes sense. So obviously, if you're like a solid artist, you just want people to see your art and your music. You're not an educational channel like I am. Then of course, then you only want them to see things like your music, but you still want them to see maybe how you actually play, or how you're discovering your music, or how you're getting that music down. So maybe a live stream about that would be quite useful, or quite good for people, just to pull the curtain back on who is the artist. The other thing as well for live streams, of course, is that now there's so many different platforms out there that it is just a case of what platform you're comfortable with. You don't need any software to actually go onto YouTube. You can go onto YouTube and just hit go live, and it just uses your phone or the camera, and that's it. But there's no fancy stuff like this, like a background or anything like that. You can do the same on Facebook, and that's what I did when I did Sunday Songs with JP. So if you go to the Facebook group, Facebook page for John Paul Music UK, scroll down quite a way, and you'll see live streams which are a couple of hours long, and it was just me just on a beach, which is the local one here. Very lucky to live next door to a beach, and then it was height of summer, so it was really nice and sunny, just playing away, and you'll hear the wind noise. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. People got some great enjoyment out of it. Now, doing your first live stream or doing live streaming on a regular basis, if I'm just in this same room all the time, I can actually have a little bit of control. I control the lights, control what you're seeing, I can control it all. If you're live streaming out into different venues all the time, the difficulty is actually the signal, the actual connection between, you know, what you're using and the World Wide Web, as we boomers call it now. So, of course, what you need to do is you need to run tests. You need to actually find out, obviously, how quick it is. If you go into, like, a traditional sort of old man's pub, which is, like, lead lines, you're not going to get a signal. You're not going to be able to live stream. But if they've got a Wi-Fi, their Wi-Fi may be really slow. Or it could be absolutely screaming fast. So it's as you're setting up your live stream equipment as much as you'd set up your music equipment. You run a sound check before you actually do a gig. So therefore you'd need to run a little bit of a, is it going to work test? And there's things out there that make it easier. Again, things like having a dedicated camera like the OBS Spot that I now use as my main camera for the channel. It can do loads of different things like connect by Wi-Fi. It's got its own battery. It can do NDI. It can do Bluetooth. So that's great, but it costs quite a bit of money. Whereas if you're just using your phone and you put your phone on the stand and it's up in the corner here, can it be seen? Can it get a signal? So things like that, it's best to obviously run a little test just to basically make sure it's working. Now I'm going to pause here for a second, obviously, whilst we're chatting, just say hi everyone. Some text, hello, how are we doing? Waving at the chat. And I hope you're well. I hope everyone is well. And yes, I'm here on a Friday. Strange, eh? Just a couple of things, obviously, before we carry on. This live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid. DistroKid are a music distribution company. So if you are making music and you're doing live streams, you can actually take the audio from that live stream and then you could actually make that a live album. So you could release it as an album through these guys. And of course, they only charge you one price per year. They charge you a subscription as opposed to charging you every time you release. Someone in the chat just let me know I'm coming through in both ears again. I'm not coming through in one ear. Please let me know that's okay, that the audio is working. Unlike last week, for the past 5 minutes, I was just in the left ear. Please let me know. So obviously, if you are looking to release some music, then have a look at DistroKid. The price starts at $22.99. However, with the link that's on the screen, it's also that link and that QR code. You get 7% off. So obviously, by clicking the link or scanning the code, that helps me out, helps the channel out, but also at the same time, it helps you out. In fact, it saves you money. So if you're looking to release music for the whole of 2024, you can release as much as you like. You can release all your live streams as music. And we did that. We actually did a live stream here on the channel, and then I actually took the audio from that live stream. It was, where are you? There. This live stream, which was Looping My Brain, and then what I did is I took the audio from it, and we made this, which is actually volume 1 of Looping My Brain, and there's all the tracks that we actually did on that day, and that was actually from a live stream. Whoop, wrong one. Whoops, that was a different live stream. So of course you could release all your live streams as music, with DistroKid, so you could do that. We're in stereo. We're in stereo. There we go. Fantastic. That's great. So a couple of things, obviously, regarding live streaming. We've talked about, obviously, keeping it as simple as possible, just plugging in USB or plugging in, stereo connections into an audio interface. Talking about, obviously, lighting and making sure that lighting is good. You can be seen. Run a test, obviously. Make sure that, obviously, is working. The next thing is actually looking at the camera. Hi. There's a thing about live streaming, and there's two kinds of live streaming for musicians. Musicians, like, for example, me chatting to you a little bit like a host. Hi, like the way I do, the way Pete does, the way other people do, like basically talking away as a host. Or you just go in and you're playing and that's it. And that's kind of like there was always this thing of like, oh, you must talk, you must look at the camera and say hi. You don't necessarily have to. It's great to engage with the audience, like, saying hello to everyone. Hi, Piers. Yes, you did arrive in time for the DistroKid plug. Well done. And then we go. But basically, with obviously live streaming, you can obviously, you can talk to the audience if you've got something to say. If you haven't, you just want to play music, you can just get on with it. And it's like the live stream's a little bit like a very different live stream. It's more like a fly on the wall kind of live stream. If you're doing this in a live environment, like you're at a gig, you're at a show, or you're in a pub, or you're live on stage, then you don't necessarily have to talk to the audience because they feel like they've got in on the gig. Now you can obviously address the audience if you wish to, but it depends where you are. So if I'm in a local bar and I'm playing and I'm like, hi, by the way, also this is live stream, so everyone say hi to the live stream. Some people like that, some people don't. So it depends. But they go, oh, he's talking about us now. Off. So some people don't like that. It depends. Yes, I have. So you've done, Piers just said, you've done a few like that and are worth watching. So it's one of those things where I've just put the camera up on the side, plugged the camera in via USB into the right place and everything else. It's actually my phone. And then, just stick it on the mic stand and you've got a little bit of a window into what's happening. Now, some musicians don't like doing this and they also feel pressured by the venue. And this is something that I actually push back on a little bit. So some people are like, oh no, we don't live stream because if you live stream, they won't come down. Well, actually, I turn around and go, well, actually, if you don't live stream it, they don't know what's on. So I push back on that a little bit. There's certain venues that are like, no, absolutely not. Do not live stream this event. It's a ticketed event. And that's fine. And I totally appreciate that. So if it's a ticketed event, and they've got their own thing going on, it's not up to you to do the live stream. You could take votes. Maybe you could take some video for content later on and you could put it up on social media. That's fine. But it's not for you to do that live stream. So that's fine. I've done it where I've actually filmed stuff from the stage on a stage, on a venue, on a ticketed event. And that's all great. If someone is actually in the audience going, filming away or even live streaming, that's not on me and that's up to them. If they do that, they can't stop that from happening. You go to a show now, go to a gig of like a sort of like, a big artist, and it's just a handful of phones like this. You can't stop that. But if you're the artist live streaming the ticketed event, then the promotionals, the people or the promotional people, listen to me, the promotional people or the actual venue or the promoter might get upset because you haven't agreed that beforehand, and also you go, well, they won't come now because you're just live streaming the whole show, so why should we get you back? So you could actually hurt future gigs by doing that. So always check in with the venue. Now, if it's a gig where I'm just playing covers and it's a local place where people can walk in and it's free to walk in, I don't see why there's an issue for live streaming that event, because hey, they could just walk in off the street, or they could actually be around the corner going, oh, I forgot JP was playing on Friday, let's go down. Because they missed set one, but they've seen it on live stream and they come down for set two, and guess what? They buy some beer and the pub's happy. So that's why I push back. Actually, in certain venues, it's worth live streaming because they don't know it's happening. You put your little message on Facebook or whatever, where you can go, yeah, do this, and basically, then they forget. You go, oh, I'm playing here on Friday. Cool. Well, I've got a life outside of your life, so that's not going to happen. But then they go, actually, we're not doing anything now other than watching telly, and they're only down the road. Let's go and watch them. So it depends on what you're looking for, and it depends on how you want to do live streaming. But it's certainly in a live environment, I would always ask or talk to the venue. Once you're comfortable with that venue, you can do it again. It's not a problem. But certainly if you're an artist who's on a ticketed or what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say labeled show, but you're actually on a ticketed show, you need to make sure that it's okay to live stream, because if you're just live streaming you and your stuff, or you go, I'm just filming for my own content, that's fine. They're never going to say no to that. But if you're live streaming the event, you could be hurting the ticket sales. Okay, so that's my kind of little thing about that, about obviously that. Now, a couple of things in the chat. So we're talking about live streaming, obviously, and about should you live stream, how to live stream. There is also one thing that's come up this week, which is a problem with Facebook specifically. They announced something and people freaked out. I'm here to resolve that for you and to tell you, calm down, don't worry. So obviously Alan's now asking sort of peers, this is a great question, any recommendations for camera upgrades? Now it depends obviously what you're looking to do, whether you're looking to obviously have a camera for this, for live streaming, or if you're looking for filming or anything like that. I'm not a camera person, but I do have a couple of cameras. Obviously, I started this entire YouTube channel with an iPhone 10. So I filmed everything on an iPhone 10, and then I edited everything, and I still edit everything today on an iPad. I don't use a computer to iPad. I don't use a computer to edit, sorry. I don't use a computer to edit the videos. I only use the phone and the iPad. Now, we use this dedicated camera. I've also got another camera which is above me here, which is the one I was dedicated for a little while that I still use, which is the Sony ZV-E10, and then we've got the Osbot Tail Air as well. So to start off with, if you've got anything from the past couple of years, if you want to go back 3 years or 4 years now and have a look at the channel, I filmed on an iPhone 10 and used that as the main camera facing me and filmed that way, and then just obviously editing as well. If people are interested in that, of course, I can make a video about how we make videos on the channel. Obviously, that's not for everyone, not what everyone wants, but we can certainly do that if people are interested. Anyway, this is a good one. The fact that some people don't want to be filmed on TV, maybe they're at the bar and they're not supposed to be. yeah, well, you know, not booked holiday and they're not well. That's it. So they're worried about being exposed. That's fine, and I get that. But at the same time, you're in a public place, so tough on them. That's it's up to them. So there we go. That 1 or 2 stream Instagram, Facebook story, yeah, and actually promote the gig it happens at. Exactly. Different from streaming the whole gig, mind, of course. Now, the thing is, I've done it where I've actually streamed on Instagram, like, the whole of the first set, then the whole of the second set. And the funny thing is, as a musician, now, you can use that as footage to showcase to other promoters. So I always go, oh, so what do you do? What do you sound like? Who do you sound like? You get all those questions, okay? So you just go, have a look at this video. There's my first set. There's my first 45 minutes. Tell me what you think. And you can get gigs out of it. And I have. So what you could do is you then take that footage, put it into a video editor, download it, put it into a video editor, and just cut up a show reel, 3-minute show reel showcasing the best bits where you got people dancing, you've got basically a lot of energy, or you're playing something quite smooth and subtle for weddings. Whatever you're doing, then that is actually really, really useful. So Pierre says, obviously, anything with a clean HDMI. Is that an HDMI? You and I are very close together on the keyboard. I think he means clean HDMI. So depending on obviously what you're doing with your footage, I think he means HDMI. So whatever you're doing with your footage, of course, then you can cut up for using later on as a way of your live streaming. That live stream becomes a video. You can then obviously use that video to chop it up. So live streaming in a venue can actually be great for promotional footage for you as a musician. So it depends obviously what you're doing with that. Anyway, the other thing as well, of course, is engaging with the audience. Now, live streaming, there are a couple of different caveats with this. Hold on to your upgraded from phones and use them to astonishingly capable. And this is great, yeah. Obviously, with things like I splashed out and got an iPhone 15 Pro Max. I had a mini phone beforehand, and now I've got a Pro Max. I literally went from the smallest iPhone to the biggest one. The camera quality on that is insane. It has like this pro raw video thing, and it's insane. That it's in a phone. So you can get some amazing footage, and it's got like the action mode, so as you're moving around, it smooths it all out, looks like it's in a gimbal. There's so many different things now with phones, and that's just the iPhone side. There's a whole Android side as well. So there's some amazing cameras on phones now, and if you've got a phone and a broadband, a internet connection, or you've just got this connection on your phone, you've got like unlimited data, you can start a YouTube channel, you can start a live stream, you can start a Twitch live stream, no problem. And then don't wait for, I haven't bought a digital SLR yet. Just start now, because what could happen is you could get a live stream revenue, you could get, obviously, that could pay for that piece of equipment. She won't mind me saying this. The other YouTuber who's also a Twitch streamer, which is Emily McVicker, she has an amazing community, and that community have helped her actually purchase the equipment for her studio. She even mentions it, and it's amazing, the community on Twitch for that. Hello to the Twitch fans out there. And with Twitch, of course, you've basically got lots of different ways of earning money as well. So they have things like bits, you've got obviously memberships, things like that. There's loads that you can do. Now, obviously on different platform, every platform has got its own way of earning money. And this is the next bit, is actually, you know, people go, oh, live streaming, is it worth it? Oh, I can't earn any money off it. You can earn money. So you can obviously put comments in right now. You can do things like on YouTube, you now have got things like a super thanks. So you've got the thumbs up, and you've also got the one with the little dollar sign. So you can give money to that creator. You've also got super chat, so you can do a super chat, and then obviously that chat also gets priority, so it can be seen obviously as a priority chat, which is really, really cool. Many channels use the super chat as an option for example, people use it as like if they're doing a live set and they've got a set list on their email list, and they go, cool, if you want me to play a song, request one, but you've got to do it through a super chat. So you can do things like that, which is really clever. It's a very similar thing where you can do a similar thing on Twitch. I'm not massively up on Twitch, but you can do that on Twitch, and there is a musicians community on Twitch, which is very, very good. Facebook now has stars, so you've got basically, you can buy them stars, and stars turned into money, although that sounds like a bit like a game show. So it depends obviously what you wanted, you know, and it's the call to action thing. We're not very comfortable at doing it at first. Certainly musicians just go, I just want to play, and then you play and you go, thanks, and then you end the live stream and then you go, oh, that was rubbish. Whereas actually if you go, do you know what, if you really, really like this, give this a thumbs up, do as a super thanks, do as a super chat, and that helps me out as a musician, that helps me out as a content creator, and it does, that's what happens. And you get people just doing a super thanks right next to every video, every live stream. People want to actually help communities. The alternative you can do is you can do it independently. So you can do things like buymeacoffee.com. I've got a buymeacoffee.com. It's in the description box underneath. You can buy me a coffee to say thank you, to keep this channel alive. You've got basically things like Patreon. So Patreon is obviously a membership. I know someone who's got a Patreon page where they just go for $5 a month. You're saying thank you. That's it. You don't have to offer anything extra. You can just go $5 a month. Then basically they've got a load of membership who give them $5 a month. It's like the price of a very expensive coffee a month to just support that artist. It's amazing. So I've got a membership, for example, like on YouTube, there's a memberships section. I've got a membership on there. We've got the caffeine drinkers, and we've also got basically the Loop Squad. So the Loop Squad is not cheap, but at the same time, you get a load of stuff with it. So you're getting value back from being part of the Loop Squad. So including its own private live stream, which is really, really cool. So there's ways you can monetize whilst also being at a gig and getting paid. So you could, if you really want to, you could do this in the comfort of your own home, but you could also do things like, so there you go, Alan's just said it there. I was just about to say about you can do lots of different things, like you got Twitch subs, you got gift subs, you got Hype Train. I don't know what Hype Train is. You can do really well, plus there's raids. So what raids are is when one Twitch person basically sends all their followers over to another one, and it kind of flows in. That's what a raid is, right? Is that the best way to describe it, Alan? I like that, obviously, you know, in the sense of the community aspect. And I think the one with the biggest community is either Twitch or Facebook. Now, let me talk about the Facebook problem, and then we'll talk about how to resolve it. Before we go on, this live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid. That's the other thing you can do as well. You can obviously find companies to sponsor the live stream for you that is relevant to your channel. Cybermob, love it. So obviously with DistroKid, we have a great standing relationship with DistroKid, and of course it fits the channel for me because of course they're a music distribution company. I use them so to obviously release all my music, so therefore basically it fits the channel really well that they sponsor things like the live streams and the videos, and we have a great relationship with them. So if you're looking to obviously release music in 2024, then of course you can release through lots of different ways, but the easiest way by far, in my humble opinion, is these guys right here, DistroKid. Because what you can do is you just pay them a subscription, which is $22.99. And then after that, what they do is basically you can release as much music as you want to. Now, just changing one thing. There we go. There we go. So with this QR code that has gone in the chat as well. Hi Leo, how are we doing? Hope you're well. Then of course you get 7% of your first annual membership with DistroKid. So you scan the QR codes, or what you can do is, of course, you can find the link that's in the description box, and then you can do that as well. So let's have a quick look. Leo's asking me a question. Can you rate music? Anyone can rate music. It's subjective, of course. I don't do rating. I don't do sort of like showing other people's music. If you want to, nice little plug for you here. Go over to Pete John's website. Pete John's YouTube channel, which is called Studio Live Today. Pete actually does your music live. And what you can do is you can submit your music, and you can actually then get the audience to tell them what they think and give you critiques on it, which is all constructive, which is really, really nice. So have a look at Pete John's your music studio I'll start that again. Pete John's Studio Live Today, and his stream is called Your Music Live. I hope that helps, Leo, and I hope you've got some great music out there. By all means, obviously, if you want to throw a link in the chat, you're more than welcome to. We don't rate music on this channel, but there we go. Well, not yet anyway. Maybe we should. Maybe we could do that, but I've got lots going on so far, so I wouldn't be able to fit that in for at the moment. When you finish your streams, you can choose to raid another streamer. All the viewers get sent over to them. Right, yeah, okay, cool. So when you're live, you often get raided by other people who just ended their stream. Now, that's also what can now happen on YouTube as well. So you can send someone at the end of the stream to a different one. The only thing with that I've found is that timing. So of course, let's say it's like 1:30 here in the UK, and like I finish at 13:28 right now. Let's just say I finish it right now, and then I send everyone over to someone else who's starting at 1:30. They're not going to start at 1:30. Their thing is going to start, but like, you know, it might not kick in. So that's it. The music name. Oh, there we go. Music name is Iron Will. Nice, cool, fantastic, it's great. Iron Will. I feel like that's metal. I've got like metal in my head. You can tell me what's the genre, Leo? I'm interested now. It would be quite useful to know. What you could do is go and send it over to Pete Johns, and he can play it, and then we can all listen to it on a replay or even live, if you want to. Now today we're talking about live streaming advice, and obviously talking about things like keeping it really simple, plugging in, getting some audio, getting some lighting so you can be seen. I know this sounds really obvious. Doing a test run, making sure that obviously it works. Do a private live stream so no one can see it, and so I do one on here to make sure it works, and then you can do one as you do like a sound check in a venue. Make sure obviously the venue's comfortable with you doing live streams. If it's a ticketed event, they might not like that because of course they'll feel like obviously that you're sort of robbing the tickets away. And then the other thing as well is obviously looking at the camera, or not looking at the camera. If you're looking at the camera going, hi, this is a live stream, you could be taking requests live, or it could be fly on the wall kind of gig. If you listen to most people talking about live stream, and they'll be like, make sure you're engaging with the audience. You don't have to if you're a musician in a live environment. That's the only caveat with that. Like, you're not gonna like watch a live stream of you know, like a football match, and they're all going to stop and go, hi Will, you know, like they're not going to do that. They're going to carry on with the match. They don't know you're there. So that's the one problem with these. The best camera is on the back. So of course, literally, if I put that way around, I can't see the chat. I can't see what's going on. I can just see, well, I know it's looking in the right place. And then I'm going to be engaging the live audience, the audience that's in front of me, as opposed to the virtual live audience. Whereas you could do both. You could actually have it where you're in a live environment, and you're also live streaming as well. You need to let that audience know and whether they're comfortable with that. It depends on where you are. I like that one with Pierce. Of course, Pierce does live streams as well. You'll be live streaming today, won't you, mate? Hardest thing about live streaming is starting. Absolutely, just do it. Just do it, said Nike E. Engaging with the audience in real time. This is what we've been doing the entire live stream. We're doing this for 46 minutes. So basically engaging with people. That's why I have this, which I quite like, because it is one thing about ReStream, and what they do is on this is I've just engaged the camera, haven't I? This is my camera that I use for live streams and for video. But now what I've done is I've engaged it for doing it because I put my hand up. I'm sure Pierce is laughing his head off right now because you've seen this camera and you've seen it do this thing. Right, let's put it back. There we go. You can set it into places. If I move my hands a bit, it goes, oh, you want me to follow you? I can disengage that, but I keep forgetting to do it. And that's what happens on a live stream. Live streams, things happen. So if I do this, see, it won't do it now. Oh, there you go. So there we go. There's the 505. There's stuff I need to review that's down there. And the stuff that's maybe here or not. That's all I can say. So yeah, basically everyone's like this now, looking, going, what's over there? Don't worry. So with live streaming, things can happen, and you have to go. It's like a live environment. Are you moving again? No, you're not. Okay. See, I need to check it. I need to make sure. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay that live streams can mess up, or live streams can go wrong, and you might not get a good signal. One thing you need to make sure with live streaming for musicians is that the audio is more important than the video. The video is still important, don't get me wrong, but if you've got if I'm just talking right now, that's just talking, that's fine. But if it goes a bit choppy, you can still make out what I'm saying. If the audio for music goes choppy, people will switch off. They just will. They'll just go, no, can't hear this, it sounds crap, next. Oh, we're going to watch a YouTube short or something. So you need to be aware of that. You need to be aware that obviously that the audio, don't try and stream in 4K, stream in 720p, and then make sure the audio's all right, and that's going to have more of a chance than if you're trying to stream in the highest video quality possible, but then the audio can't handle it. So definitely look at obviously the audio more than the video. I'm streaming right now in basically 1080. That's the highest I will ever stream. I normally stream in 720, but I'll stream in 1080. Now, if I'm throwing these numbers out, if you don't know what these numbers are, you're going, what the hell is he talking about? Then I'm talking about actually the amount of pixels that are going across the screen. And the only reason I'm streaming in 1080 is because I've actually got this camera at 720, but ReStream pump it out at 1080, which is great for me because it looks better. So obviously, depending obviously from live streaming, there we go. The whole thing from going from 0 to streaming, resist the urge to ask, is it on? I was just about to get to that, funnily enough. So the next thing is actually starting the live stream. So looking at the live stream that you're doing. So imagine I start the live stream and it's like this. Hello? Is it on? Can you see me? Is it on? I can't, no one's here yet, so we're just gonna wait. All right? No. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that if you're talking. You don't want to do that if you're performing. You don't want to go, well, I can see there's only one person, so we're going to wait until there's 20 and then we'll start. You may never get 20. I've got 7 right now, okay? And I'm just being completely honest with you. So you may not get 20 people all on that live stream. They're busy. It's like 1:30 on a Friday. They could be in work. But the fact is that this live stream can then become a video that they can watch later. I personally have more uptake on a live stream as a replay because it becomes obviously advice that I add on to the YouTube channel, and people watch it back when it's then convenient for them. Just because it's not convenient for you, it doesn't mean you should hold back and start. So the whole thing of is it on and we'll just wait a bit until there's a couple more. Well, the other people are there have just been insulted and they're going to go. So what you need to do is start your live stream with no one. Busk to no one. Perform to no one. And be comfortable about that, because at the end of the day, certainly if you're doing it in a live pub, can you imagine that? You just go, sorry guys, I know you were here and we said we'd start at 9, but there's no one on the live stream yet, so we're just going to wait. No, it's ridiculous. You're not going to do that. So what you need to do is just start and just play. Obviously, if you've got a set list, you're playing out to your set list, just start, just go for it. People drop in and out with music as opposed to live streams about advice more, because what they do is they go, oh, I don't like that song, or I do like that song. So it depends obviously on what you're doing and what live stream you're doing, but you need to be aware of obviously, your audience is there and your audience will be there. This also goes hand in hand with consistency. So right now, this live stream is not consistent of what I normally do. I don't normally live stream on a Friday. I normally live stream on a Wednesday. We do the midweek live loop. And being consistent, obviously churning up every time, and also, promoting it to say, on YouTube, it says like coming up next Wednesday is JP's live stream. That actually, if it's there all the time, and it's like a TV show. So if I said to you, right, call your favorite TV show that's on every Saturday at 8 p.m. is now going to be on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, you're not going to watch it, or you'll watch it on the replay, okay? Whereas obviously if you're going to watch something consistently at the same time every week, as you do it more and do it more consistently, whether you're doing it at a gig, you go every gig I'm live streaming, or you go every Wednesday at 2 p.m, which is what I normally do, and that's not very great for people in the UK. I know it's not, but the fact is, obviously, there's things that go on. Like I'm not going to live stream at 10 p.m. in a house and make a load of noise because my neighbours and family and stuff. So it depends on what you can get away with, what you can do yourself. Now, if you can, and you got that availability to do that, great, fantastic. Again, going back to people like Emily McVicker, she's live streamed constantly for 6 hours, I think it was, and she's done things like that where people have ordered food in for her, and she's actually received food. She can carry on eating while she's doing live streams. I'm not going to go to that extent. I'm going to live stream for maybe 2 or 3 hours at a max, because I run out of stuff. If we're doing the stuff where we make stuff up on the fly, we do the mad live stuff, then of course that's a little bit different. So what I would suggest with that is play to your strengths of obviously being a performer, and live stream it. Just go for it. Just go for it like it's a show, okay? Whether there's one person there, no people there, you don't know if all of a sudden you're going to get like 10 people join a couple of minutes in. And it also depends when that social media or whatever platform you're on sends the notification out based on when they're doing this and go, oh, JP's live, boom, and they hit it. So it totally depends on obviously when they want to watch you, not when you're live streaming. I hope that makes sense. So obviously we've talked about a couple of things. We've talked about obviously keeping it simple. As I say, I plug my looper in down there into my speakers, and then I just plug the USB straight in. Or of course, if you've got an audio interface, just plug it into there and wear headphones. You can do that, nice and simple. The even simpler one, of course, is just point your phone at you, but then you're not going to maybe get the best microphone, best sound out. You're going to put that next to a speaker. Loads of people obviously stream, out in the street if they're busking, or if you're streaming for a live gig. Make sure that you're the venue are okay with you live streaming, and that's fine. If it's an open bar pub thing, then you should be fine. But if it's a ticketed event, obviously be aware of that. Looking at the camera, of course, that is obviously, an option. And most people look at the camera, absolutely. But you don't have to if you're live streaming when you're doing musician stuff, because you're performing. But engage with certainly if you're doing it at home, engage obviously in between the songs. Don't just play and go, next. You want to talk to the audience. They want to feel part of something like you do right now. You guys want to actually feel part of this live stream. I know that I feel like I'm breaking some kind of weird Deadpool fourth wall or something by saying that, but you know what I mean. Consider obviously the platform that you're live streaming on. So I live stream on 4 different platforms using ReStream. Use ReStream Studio. That's actually the package that I'm using right now. And I'm live streaming to 4 different places. Last week we did it where we also live streamed to Instagram. But then the problem is it's obviously long form, not long form, portrait. And then, so you've got to consider where you're live streaming to. So I can obviously with ReStream you can live stream to lots of different destinations, and of course build a following up there. However, if you've got a following on a specific platform and you're live streaming on that platform, they're not going to follow you. So you need to obviously live stream where your audience is and where you've built up your fan base. Being consistent, obviously live streaming for the long haul, of course you can do that. And there's obviously ways that you can monetize that live stream by having things like, for example, on Twitch, you've got things like the bits, you've got on Facebook, you've got stars, on YouTube, you've got super chat and super thanks. You're more than welcome to drop a super chat or a super thanks if you're on this live stream right now. Thanks very much. Helps me out, helps the channel out. Thanks very much. But also, you've got independent ones. You've got things like coffee, buy me a coffee, Patreon for memberships. I've got a membership here for YouTube as well. So you've got lots of different ways to monetize the live stream and make money out of that live stream, should you wish to. Things like YouTube itself has obviously got like the YouTube monetization program. So if you're over so many subscribers, and you know that's getting into the YouTube game. If you don't want to do that, then of course people can still send you a super thanks for the video that you've made or the live stream that you've made after it's happened. So of course there's that as well. And the other thing you can do, of course, is sponsorships. And that leads me nicely onto this live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid, who are a music distribution company. So if you're making music, you want to get it out there, and of course, you can obviously use these guys. Now, most music distributors charge you for every time you release music. So they charge you for every single, every EP, every live, every LP, every album, whichever. These guys charge you a subscription. So they charge you one price per year, and that starts at $22.99. And then you can release as much music as you want to. So, of course, with the link that link that came up before, this QR code, which is there. I'm good with that, aren't I? Then, of course, you get 7% of your first annual membership. So give it a scan or have a look, obviously, in the description box below, and then you can get, obviously, 7% off. Scanning that, clicking the link. That helps this channel out, of course, if you sign up. And then, of course, for me, and then it helps you out. You're going to get 7% off, which is great. We have a great relationship with DistroKid. I love them dearly, but the funny thing is, obviously, they do sponsor our live streams. So yes, when Piers turns around and says that one day someone else is going to sponsor one of these live streams and those regulars are going to die of shock. That's quite funny. I'd like another sponsor. That'd be great. Fantastic. But thank you members of DistroKid for obviously sponsoring these live streams. And of course, I do obviously genuinely like DistroKid because they sponsor the channel, but also because I use it. I use it to release my music, and I genuinely think it's the easiest way. I'll give you an example. So we released a song called Stray a little while back, and then as soon as we released it, as soon as you release any music whatsoever, what it does is, have I got a picture of it here? Maybe. What it does is every release gets its own webpage, and then you can actually give that to your audience, and then they can choose which sort of service they listen to your music on, which is quite useful. So there we go. There we go. Cool. There we go. Look at this. Yeah, they pulled Twitch things, didn't they? Now, I said I was going to talk about the Facebook problem. I have forgot to talk about that. So, the Facebook problem. Facebook came out and actually said that they are dropping live streaming for groups. So if you're in a group, if you're in a page or a group, there's groups and there's pages. So unless you live stream on groups, this is where a lot of businesses, a lot of entrepreneurs are actually panicked, because they'll use Facebook to actually create a Facebook group and go, well, I've got a Facebook group for this thing. For example, I follow a Facebook group about making YouTube better, and they do a live stream there, and they said they're actually going to drop the API for Facebook groups. It doesn't mean they're dropping live streaming for Facebook groups, it just means they're dropping the API. So for example, this stuff, like actually using things like in the chat, you need a separate chat up while it's running. What you can do is you can still use the RMTP link. So you can still use that, no problem at all, but you're not going to be able to have little extra bits and bobs in there. So if you use things like Facebook groups, then the live stream is going to be a little bit more complicated unless they release something else to cover that. However, using things like ReStream, I can put the chat inside ReStream and you're seeing it live on the video. I can take it off again, of course I can, but you can do things like that, which is quite useful. And then I can just send it as an RMTP link. Also, it also means as well, if I'm live streaming to Facebook, which I'm doing right now, hello Facebook people, I'm live streaming to a Facebook page, not a Facebook group, okay? So if you've got a page, that's fine. If you want to do your own private, your own personal Facebook page, that's fine, you can do that. So your own profile is normal, then you've got a page. I've got John Paul Music UK page, that's fine. It's only if you're doing it to a group. So if you're doing, obviously you've got groups where you've got church groups, you've got video groups, you've got music groups. So there's, for example, there's an RC600 Facebook group. If they did a live stream, it's very difficult to use the API on there, and they're going to turn that off. I think it's April. They're going to turn it off, but you can still use an RNTP link. If you know what I'm talking about, then you don't need to worry about it. It's as simple as that. But things like this, like ReStream, helps out loads because you can just send it to different places, obviously, that way. So things like, obviously, you know, streaming to Twitch, streaming to YouTube. The one thing I'd really love on YouTube is more of a community-based side of the platform. They have a community shelf, as it were. There's a community section. So if you go to my YouTube channel and then go to community, I'd really like it where people could chat to each other in that community. I think that would be really good, and that's one thing that Twitch really does have, and it has that sort of community built in, which is really, really good. I'd really, really like to actually see a future where YouTube actually incorporate that. And if I'm completely honest, if that was the case, then, you know, it would make Facebook less and less important. Piers, am I right in remembering that you can only stream to Facebook pages with the paid version of ReStream? That's absolutely correct. So you need to be on the pro version to be able to do that, which is what I'm on. So yes, you can go to your normal Facebook profile, as it were, and you can stream from there. But if you've got a page, you need to have the paid version of ReStream, which I think is worth it because, of course, you can get rid of things like the logo that they have and everything else. And you can do that no problem at all. So yeah, so the last little thing, obviously, with live streaming is obviously, you know, being prepared, have the right audio, find the right audience, get paid with all these monetization things. Have a plan. Now, I know that sounds really mad for me because obviously I live stream. I'm live streaming on a Friday when I don't normally live stream, and I'm not live streaming. I'm not talking about looping or anything like that. Have a plan. Even if it's just a subject. You know, like last week we talked about getting gig ready with Looper. This week we're talking about actually live streaming advice. So have a plan. If you're just live streaming your music, then follow your set list. And that's fine. That's okay. You might not have to play as much as you normally do because you might have a chat in between the songs. I do a series, I've done a series which is basically how do you loop, which of course is an interview series. But we also do one as well where basically we've done where how I loop stuff. So where I actually play a cover, and then I loop it and I perform it, and then we break it down and actually showcase how to do it. And again, that's pulling the curtain back because this is an educational channel. It's about how do I do something. Whereas, of course, if you're just a strict like music channel, you're actually just the artist. You're not going to see Ed Sheeran go, well, this is how I perform this, so you can learn how to do it too. You're not going to see Beyonce do that. This is how we created the track. So they may do that as a sort of background thing, but they're not going to do it as a main video or a main live stream. So, of course, depending on what you're doing, you know, look at things like I loved it when the Foo Fighters did live streams and stuff like that. I think it's great because the production level is just like full-blown TV production level. At this level, where I am at, obviously we've got one camera. I could add cameras on if I want to. And then, of course, we can add different cameras in different places. But you then need more equipment. You need ways of controlling those cameras. So you need to have a plan of what the live stream A is going to look like and B, what you're going to do in that live stream. So I hope that makes sense. I just wanted to obviously shout that out. If you've got any questions about obviously live streaming, for advice for live streaming, of course, I do have that video that I brought up 3 years ago, which was how to live stream for musicians, which is now over 200,000 views, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you very much. And as of, I think it was this morning, we went past 23,700 subscribers. These numbers just blow my mind that I'm just sitting here and chatting away to myself while you're watching me and commenting. And you guys like it, so I'm very, very happy. I'm very grateful for every single person who subscribes. Thank you very much. And even every single person who puts a thumbs up on a video. Do me a favor, if you are watching this on the replay, then obviously give it or if you're watching right now on the live stream, give it a thumbs up, because then that tells the algorithm to push it out to different places. So we're going to leave it there. I hope obviously you have had a little bit of insight and a little bit of information about live streaming and how to live stream. If you want more information about that, if you want obviously me to do a video about how I do all this, I can do that. Let me know in the comment section below. Or if you're obviously interested in how I film and edit stuff on YouTube, I can do that as well. Of course, it's a little bit out of the scope for what the channel is about. It's normally about obviously live streaming, live looping, pedals, reviews. But it's up to you, obviously, and this is obviously guided by you. So I want to know what you guys want to see as well. So if that is something that interests you, if you're thinking about, should I start a YouTube channel, and, what would I do as a musician, I could obviously help you with that as well. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great weekend, as it's now Friday. And I hope to see you all soon. Oh, Alan, let's end with this. JB, cool trick on Twitch you may be aware of. You can use things like Touch Portal and StreamerBot to trigger camera changes in response to audience actions, e.g. channel points or specific chat. So you're saying that someone puts something in the chat and then you can tell it to change the camera. Is that right? That's really cool. I like that. I think it's quite cool to have more than one camera view if you're doing performances, because people want to see like the guitar, or they want to see the pedal, or they want to see things like that. So that's quite cool. I like that. That's quite cool. Obviously, my main thing, obviously for streaming, is on YouTube, of course, and then of course we stream to Twitch as well. And at the moment we stream to Facebook and obviously X, Twitter. It's always Twitter. And then, of course, we try and play around with live streams for lots of different places. If you have actually got any wins, then put it down, obviously, in the comment section, just like Alan's done there. That's a wonderful one. I love that. I need to experiment with Twitch a little bit more. But thank you very much, obviously, for joining us. And obviously, we will see you next week. We'll be back next week at the regular time on a Wednesday, which is normally 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, unless I've got some kind of technical difficulty. We'll be there at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, and then we're going to have a play around with a couple of things. Stay tuned. Have a good weekend.